afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Just Another Day in the Forest, where in this forest, we explore what's going on in the minds of student athletes at Adrian College. I am your host, Forrest, and I am so excited to introduce my guest to you at this time, and she is one of the newest members of our very own women's soccer team, Josie Huber. Josie, it feels great to have you here today, so we're just going to dive right into some questions. The people of Adrian are so excited to learn more about you and your experience. So, my first question for you is, what made you decide to transfer here to Adrian College?
So, I decided to transfer schools because, there were like a couple reasons, but really because I wanted to be closer to home. I was like 7.5 hours away my first 2 years, and I just decided I wanted to be closer to like my family, and I also like wasn't loving it there. So like the first thing that like kind of shifted me towards Adrian College was I have a lifelong friend, Taylor, that's also on the soccer team. She's the goalie actually, and she kind of like we met up when I was home for break, and she like I had talked to a lot of my friends about like their experiences, but she was like one of the ones that like just loved it and was like raving about it honestly, and she was telling me all the good things, and I was like, oh, like I should really look here. And so that was definitely a huge factor because she's like, I've been friends with her for a long time. I used to play with her in club soccer, and like I really trust like her opinion and her judgment. So like I took that seriously when I decided to live here.
Now, how would you describe your overall experience playing soccer before and after you transferred to Adrian?
Before I transferred, I'd say my experience was like really bad. I just like, nobody really enjoyed where we were at. Like there was a lot of like stress and like just not looking forward to going to practice or games. Like it was like super stressful and just not very enjoyable, and I don't really think I realized how like not normal that was until I came here and I had such a good experience. Like I really look forward to going to practice and seeing all my teammates because the energy is just always super high and everybody is in a good mood and like wants to be there. And like also my coach is like super supportive and encouraging, so that's like a huge part of it because I didn't have that before. So soccer is going like super well, and I really enjoyed it here so far.
Now, Josie, other than yourself, change the topic here, but did you have any favorite soccer players growing up?
Yeah, so I definitely watched like a little bit of like pro soccer here and there, but the games that I went to like all the time would be like my older sisters. So like Sophie was like a huge role model for me. She's like 2.5 years older than me. So like growing up, I always went to her games, and that kind of like just showed me like the kind of player and person like I want to be. And especially in college, when she's in college, because she's a few years older, I was in high school, and I went and visited her, or we would even like FaceTime, and like just seeing her experience and like what she liked about it, like the pros and cons, and like kind of like, okay, maybe I don't want to do that, or I do. Like it really just showed me like the lifelong friends that you can make like playing college soccer or even like any sport. So she was definitely like my biggest influence.
Yeah, it's always good to have those older siblings to go to for advice. And speaking of advice, so my last question for you is, do you happen to have any advice for any high school students who want to have the same experience as you?
Yeah, I would say definitely get on campus and visit places, because that is going to be like the closest thing you're going to get to understanding like kind of what you want. Because when people would ask me like, do you want to go to a big school? Would you prefer a small school? Like, do you want this or that? Like, it's really hard until you're there because like you've never experienced anything like it. Like high school is just so different. And so like I went and visited, I have 2 older sisters. I visited both of them like several times. Like I stayed the night so I could kind of just get like that whole atmosphere. And like definitely visit like different schools. So maybe visit a big school and like kind of see what like a football game would be like versus like a small school that's maybe like closer in size to like your high school. And but overall I would recommend Adrian 100%. I love this school, and it's a great option. But like other than that, like definitely just try to like ask people, like whether it's like old teammates that have graduated and are in college, like maybe talk to them, or like older family members or something, or just like anything like that for sure.
That is great advice, Josie, but unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on Just Another Day in the Forest.